If you're a basketball fan who lives for shocking headlines, unexpected twists, and blockbuster trades that flip the league on its head, then buckle up. Because what I'm about to tell you is one of the most astonishing behind-the-scenes stories the Lakers have tried to keep buried for months. And before we dive into this explosive report that rewrites everything you thought you knew about Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, and even the Boston Celtics, just jump down there and hit the like button so this story reaches every NBA fan who deserves to know the truth. Now, let's get into something truly unbelievable. Imagine the NBA universe as a calm sea, headlines drifting like soft waves, teams making predictable moves, the usual cycle of rumors and half-rumors flowing gently from franchise to franchise. But every now and then, a tidal wave comes crashing in, and suddenly the league finds itself gasping for air, wondering what just happened. What if I told you that before Luka Doncic ever put pen to paper to join the Los Angeles Lakers, before the purple and gold shocked the entire sports world by pulling off one of the most dramatic trades in NBA history, Anthony Davis was almost traded to the Boston Celtics. Yes, the Celtics, the Lakers' greatest rivals. The franchise with whom Los Angeles shares one of the fiercest, most emotional, and most culturally significant rivalries in the history of American sports. And this wasn't a rumor. This wasn't a draft night whisper. This wasn't one of those anonymous league sources stories that get floated around to stir clicks. This was real. This was discussed. This was closer than anyone ever imagined. And tonight, we're going to peel back every layer of this jaw-dropping saga. The side conversations, the internal debates, the secret meetings, the quiet Celtic signals, the panic inside the Lakers front office, the emotional toll on the franchise, and the moment when everything changed, the arrival of Luka Doncic. But to truly understand the magnitude of this story, we have to rewind the clock. Not to the moment the Lakers made the trade, but to the moment they realized they were standing at a crossroads. And standing right there in the center of that crossroads was Anthony Davis. Inside the Lakers practice facility, months before the world knew anything, there was already a sense of unease. Not panic, not frustration, but something deeper, that instinct executives get when they know time is running out on a core that once delivered greatness. Anthony Davis was still a superstar, still dominant, still capable of taking over games on both sides of the floor in ways almost no other big man could. But he was also 31. And the Lakers, as difficult as it was to say out loud, knew exactly what that meant in NBA years. Big men age differently. Injuries linger longer. And windows close faster. The front office had seen this before. Dwight Howard, Pau Gasol, DeMarcus Cousins. Even the mighty Tim Duncan eventually slowed down. The Lakers never publicly admitted this, but internally, they were studying every minute Davis played. Every landing, every sprint, every recovery. Not because they doubted his talent, but because they feared something worse, that the decline would come quickly and they would be left with nothing. So while the fans focus on rotations, on wins and losses, on the next big free agent rumor, the Lakers front office was quietly having a different conversation. A conversation about the future. A conversation about the next chapter. A conversation they were never supposed to have while LeBron James was still on the roster. And in that internal debate, one name kept coming up, a name that would soon electrify the entire league. Luka Doncic. But before Luka became a realistic possibility, the Lakers explored something even more shocking. There are certain teams in sports whose names you simply do not say in the same sentence when discussing trades. In soccer, Real Madrid doesn't call Barcelona. In baseball, the Yankees don't call the Red Sox. And in the NBA, the Lakers absolutely do not, call the Boston Celtics. But last season, the impossible happened. Sources told Brett Siegel from Clutch Points that the Lakers, during their quiet exploration phase, reached out to several teams about Davis, not to push him out, but to understand his market value while they still had leverage. One of those teams was the Boston Celtics. Let that sink in for a moment. The Lakers, the Celtics, talking about Anthony Davis. It sounds like fan fiction, like a 2K My League fever dream, like something that should never, ever happen. And yet it did. According to Siegel, the Lakers and Celtics actually held meetings. Multiple meetings. Not quick check-in calls. Meetings. Discussions happened. Concepts were floated. Frameworks were considered. And while nothing fully materialized, something did happen. Something that sent shockwaves through the Lakers front office. Brad Stevens and the Celtics didn't shut the door. They didn't say no. They didn't say not interested. They didn't laugh at the idea of helping their biggest rival. Instead, they said 5 words the Lakers never expected to hear. We'll keep that in mind. Those 5 words changed everything. Because the Celtics aren't polite in these situations. They aren't diplomatic. And they certainly aren't in the business of helping the Lakers. So the very fact that they didn't reject the idea outright meant much more than the words themselves. It meant the door was open, even if only a crack. And in NBA front office language, a crack is all you need. Let's not pretend the Celtics weren't tempted. They were. There's no shame in that. Anthony Davis is a franchise-shifting player, even at 31. But the timing here is crucial. The Celtics had just watched their season spiral after Jayson Tatum ruptured his Achilles in the playoffs. A devastating moment that changed the entire direction of the franchise. When that happened, everything Boston thought they knew about their future suddenly became uncertain. Tatum would recover, yes, but how long would it take? How much would it cost him in the standings? And worst of all, how much would it cost him financially? Before the injury, the Celtics were already signaling they intended to cut costs during the upcoming offseason. They had major contracts coming due. They had decisions to make. And they had to prepare for a brutal cap environment. So when the Lakers called, it wasn't absurd. It wasn't outrageous. It was timely, because Boston could have done it. All the pieces were there. Drew Holiday, movable Kristaps Porzingis, movable draft picks, available young assets, available a massive package for Davis was absolutely on the table. Not guaranteed, but possible. And that's the part the NBA world never knew. The Celtics weren't dismissive. They were curious. But curiosity is a dangerous thing in this league, because curiosity leads to conversations. Conversations lead to possibilities. And possibilities lead to decisions that can reshape everything. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. Why were the Lakers even considering moving Anthony Davis? He won them a championship in 2020. He anchored one of the league's best defenses. He was one of the most skilled big men the NBA had seen since Kevin Garnett. So why explore a trade? Because the Lakers knew something the public didn't. Their championship window was closing faster than anyone realized. LeBron was aging. Davis was aging. And the supporting cast wasn't good enough to carry either one if injury struck again, which, let's be honest, felt inevitable. Rob Pelinka saw 3 paths forward. Path 1, keep Davis forever and hope his health holds. Path 2, trade him later and get less value. Path 3, trade him now before his decline begins and rebuild around a superstar entering his prime. Pelinka didn't say it publicly. He didn't hint at it during press conferences. But the internal conversations were real. Move Davis before you lose leverage. And then something extraordinary happened. While the Celtics' door was cracked open, a different door suddenly blew wide open. A door with a name, Luka Doncic. This wasn't supposed to happen. Superstars at Luka's age, 24, entering his MVP prime, do not get traded in the NBA. Ever. Not unless something catastrophic happens behind closed doors. But the Mavericks were unraveling. Luka was frustrated. The front office was fractured. And the internal belief that they could build a true contender around him was fading fast. For the first time, Dallas was listening. Not eager, not desperate, but listening. And that was all the Lakers needed. Pelinka didn't hesitate. He didn't allow the Celtics a chance to rethink their position. He didn't gamble on waiting another year. He went all in instantly. Davis, Max Christie, a first-round pick. For Luka Doncic, one of the most impossible trades in NBA history. A trade that felt like it fell out of the sky. A trade that immediately changed the direction of both franchises. A trade that will be talked about for decades. But here's the twist most fans never knew until now. If the Luka deal had fallen apart, Anthony Davis would have been a Boston Celtic. That's not speculation, not rumor, not exaggeration. That's reality. We were one domino away, one hesitation, one failed negotiation, one cold foot moment from seeing Anthony Davis wearing green and white. Let that image sink in. Davis walking into TD Garden. Davis standing next to Jaylen Brown. Davis being announced as the new star of the Celtics. The NBA world would have exploded. Lakers Nation would have been shaken to its core. The rivalry would have entered a new era overnight. But fate had other plans. The Luka trade happened. The Celtics conversations ended. And the league moved forward, unaware how close we came to witnessing one of the wildest alternate realities in basketball history.